Hi, this is Krista Lay.
And I'm Craig Aarons Martin.
We're the co-hosts of the SEL in EDU podcast.
Proud member of the Education Podcast Network.
Each show on the network is independently owned, and the views expressed may not represent those of other podcasts.
For the best education podcast, visit edupodcastnetwork.com.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology, and instructional coach for my district.
And I'm her producer and husband, Fuzz Martin, and this ain't your Gamma's podcast. I don't know.
Nice.
My brain is frozen, and I'm just going to
let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Because it's cold, but it's sunny. We have sunshine. We had this glimmer of spring this week.
Yeah, it's that hopeless. It's like
it's
an
first
oasis.
Spring.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
It's first spring in Wisconsin.
It looks warm outside, and then you step outside, and it's 11 degrees Fahrenheit.
So that's fun.
Yeah. Not really.
So many things. We're counting down spring break. It will be here before we know it. We're all holding on. Spring break is coming soon. But yeah, so I have a fun little AI tool to talk about this week, and it is called Gamma.
Gamma.app.
And Gamma.app. And it is super fabulous for all of the things. And it also is really helpful in time saving. So like the things that, like the cool things about it, like it's a super time saver because lots of AI things are. It has several different AI tools in it. So I use it for like building presentations, but it also can do PDFs. It can do websites. It can do images. So it can cover the gamut.
There you go.
Of items that you might need to help support you in your classroom. It does have an education section. You can click that you're an educator or a student. So it does, like, you can do that as well, which I appreciate because sometimes AI tools are strictly office focused, and this one is not. It's easily edited. So once you have all the things created, you can easily edit it, which is nice. You can download the presentations when you make them into PowerPoint or Google Slides, which I appreciate. It uses both, and it has lots of pretty design elements. So I cranked out some presentations for my social studies class. I was like, woo, this would be great. Not that I'm going to use all of it at once, but with anything AI, it's a great starting point to get you moving forward.
Right.
So when you go into Gamma, it's GAMMA.app. So Gamma.app, create. I will say that you get a free, they kind of do like a points system.
Yep.
So you get so many free like points available to you. And then once your credits, and then once you use through those, then you have to pay for it. But you can create several presentations. I think at least like 8 to 10 presentations, depending on how in-depth they are, for free, which is kind of nice. And if you decide you really like the tool, you can pay for it or not, or just create things that you're going to use on a regular basis. I was thinking about some of those like baseline presentations, like you may need the structure set up, and then from there you can edit away when you have in Google Slides. So that's an option.
Sure.
So when you go to create with AI, with the Gamma app, you can choose. So either you can paste in your text, like this is my notes or my outline of my information I already have that I want created. It will generate from scratch. You set up a really clear online prompt, which again, with any AI, you have to be really clear with those prompts to get what you want out of it. Or you can import your own file or URL. So you can choose what you want to put in, and then you can go ahead and create from there. So I am going to type in like basic overview of the Great Depression, 8th grade level. I want to see what information is going to come out of this. And the prompt sets me up with 8 cards, like 8 slides in your slide deck. It's in English, but you can change it to any language, which again, appreciated for our students that are speaking different languages in our classroom. You can absolutely help them out and support them in the classroom. Outline the Great Depression, America's economic crisis. It goes through what it was, causes, life during it, the Dust Bowl, Hoover's response, Roosevelt's response, so it's just 8 overview slides with accurate information, and not too detailed, but my prompt wasn't too detailed. So it gives me all of the things I need for the information, which is really nice. You can go through, you can then add your own cards to it. You can add more information, whatever you choose to, and you can plug that right in. So you have your slide outline set up, which is nice. And then from there, you just scroll down and then you can customize your Gamma. And they have themes, so you can pick, and it will make your slide deck beautiful for you right off the bat. You can choose to view more. They have light, dark, professional, colorful. You can pick and choose. And then once you have your theme picked, later on, you can even adjust it even more. So they have tons of theme options for you to start with, and then you can pick it from there, make your slides all pretty. And then content, you can choose how you want your text and images to look. If you want things to be like brief, or if you want them super detailed. And then image sources, I thought this was interesting. You can choose to have it automatic, where it will select the best image type that it thinks you should have. You can choose from web images specifically, or AI images, or illustrations, or animated GIFs. I will say, if you use too many AI images, it takes more credits away.
Sure, yeah,
so that's just something to be aware of, that if you're going to be generating things, the more you're having AI create for you, the fewer or the more credits will be taken out of your account. So that's just something to note as you're going through stuff. So once you're in, and you have your slide deck created, and it is beautiful and amazing. And then once you have that slide deck in and created, and you really like it, then what's cool is you can go back through and edit everything that you possibly want. So my slide deck is all pretty. Great Depression. I didn't like the first image. I swapped it out. So you have like 3 little dots that give you can duplicate the card, just like working in any Google slide deck or any slide deck if you're using PowerPoint. You can copy the card link. You can export just that card specifically. You can edit your card style. So I don't like the accent image, or I don't like the card color, or I want better alignment, or I want a different backdrop. You can add and edit all of those things, each card at a time, once it's been created. So I think for like time saving purposes, like, okay, it's made this whole thing for me. Now I can tweak it and make it more personalized, or I can adjust it as I want to. So like, as I was saying before, you can create a slide deck, and then you can edit all the things and then change them. You can simplify your language. You can make shorter. You can translate. You can support for all different needs of your classroom, which is pretty cool. It also will convert things to a timeline, which is pretty cool. So you do have that option as well.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many options. When you go, you can present it right off of Gamma if you want to, or when you go to share, you can share it with Workspace if you want to. You can export it as you want to, or you can embed it. You can export it as a PDF. You can export it as a PowerPoint. You can export it as Google Slides. You can export it as PNGs.
I even saw you can export it to LinkedIn and make it a LinkedIn post. I mean, not that your students will necessarily be doing that, but maybe, I mean, if they're in a,
business class or something like that. For sure. And if they're looking for internships, or if they're looking for different opportunities for summer and things like that,
right.
Older students, absolutely. So then I was thinking, how many different ways can you use this if as a teacher you're trying to save time? So I'm thinking, like, if you have daily slides in your classroom, so you have a daily slide deck that has the usual date, calendar information, along with creating review basics. So maybe you have certain touch points in reading that you're going through, or certain things like your students write CERs all of the time. You could have a slide deck created for you that has all of those basic things in it, looks really professional, looks great, and you can come back to it as much as you need to, and it's just always created for you. So if there's certain concepts that you need, or you can pull it. So you can pull your standards out, plug them into the AI tool, and it will lay information out as you need to, or set up questions as you need to. Something else we do, like this time of year, especially in Wisconsin, we've got our state testing coming up, and ACT testing comes up. So if you need testing practice slides or testing reminders, like, hey, you need to make sure like these are study strategies, or these are breaking down question strategies. This will create you a presentation that then you can share in all of these formats to your students, to families, to parents, putting on the school website or your classroom website. Like this is pieces of information that you can create, share out. Everybody has it. And it would be super fast to do, because all of these things are on top of your regular teaching.
Yes. Like so many things.
So if this could create some sort of like all right, this information needs to get out to families quick. It should look professional. I don't have time to do that. So these are the points I need to put in the presentation. Boom, share it. It'll make it pretty for you.
Yep.
And then you can push it out however you need to. So I feel like this obviously can be used in any content area for a number of skills, whether it's teacher created, and then older students could use it again. Like, obviously, we're always aware of like how much AI our kids are using. But for this purpose, if they're plugging in all their own content or like their outline of information and they can share it out, even clubs and organizations, our FFA kids have all these presentations coming up, like just different ways to use it. But of course, always now teaching our older kids how to cite that they used AI for something as well.
For sure.
So yeah, all of these things are offered in a very short amount of time. And again, like I said, you have your credits to work from, but if you set it up right, you can use it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And some of the images that it pulled for you were needed to be
edited. Yeah. As I went through, I was like, well, these are like accurate to the Great Depression. They would probably not be appropriate for 8th grade.
Right.
So just obviously, like anything in AI, always going back through and making sure it's exactly what you need. But it was such a great starting point that this I now have created. I can go through, I can add more of my own information as I need to. But that whole like basic guideline is set up for my students, which it's a great starting point and a time saver, which we always love to save our time, which is helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you love it, you get all these credits to try it out, test it out, see what you can do.
Yeah. Again, you built one in like 5 minutes, I think.
Yes, or less.
Or less.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll tweak this. This is a great starting point.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like my whole like unit, but it's just a great introductory piece. And I can translate it for my students that need it in other languages. So that way I can support them and they will have the same content that my other students do.
Yep,
which
exactly.
Is fantastic.
And when you're building these, if you're looking for images, if you're doing a history project or something, you can always go to archives.gov and get the free Creative Commons or public domain images. Your students can use that and cite that, and great way to build that out without using up all the credits. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go.
Cool.
So check out Gamma.app. Check out this tool. It's really awesome. It will save you a bunch of time. And just to try it out, like it's one of those where I say it may not be for you, but it also could just be like this huge time saver that you're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. And again, you can make quite a few presentations with just trying out the free version of it, which I always appreciate because then you can see how it'll work best in your classroom.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Over the river and through the woods to Gamma's app we go. Thank you.
And we're marching on through.
Oh, yeah, look at that. We're marching on through. Because,
it's March.
It's March. Great work, Shanna.
We're doing fabulous here. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Instagram at SmartinWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit SmartinWI.com. If you'd like to support the show, please consider buying me a coffee or two. Visit buymeacoffee.com/SmartinWI or visit SmartinWI.com and click on that cute little purple coffee cup. Your donations help keep the show going. New episodes each week, but probably not next week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
And I highly recommend that you buy Shanna a coffee because I made really bad coffee this morning and she hasn't had enough. The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we sure hope they do.